suppose if I start maybe a tiny bit about myself, my background. So I am a coach and a speaker, a mentor, and energy practitioner as well, integrated energy practitioner. I facilitate people putting themselves in the driving seat of their life, where that might be in a relationship, career, money, spiritual, mental well-being, emotional well-being, you name it. We'll work through. Basically, I will coach the person, let's say. So I wasn't always a coach and a speaker and mentor. I had maybe 20 years battle with crippling, I would say, life-threatening depression, anxiety, that took me down into very suicidal tendencies at one point. I had some hospital spells when I was a younger man as well. So the reason I share that is to absolutely ram home the point that you can be and do and have whatever it is that you want, once the mind is focusing on what it is that we want, what it's going to mean to us to have it, and the steps to take to get there, rather than sort of trying to understand it all in one huge big blob, which just kind of throws us completely. And that's going to be the crux of what I'm going to work with you guys today on, which is overwhelm. Basically, overwhelm, what it is. I'm just going to share my screen here with you guys so you can see a few visuals. Okay, so bear with me for a second. I'm going to get this up. We'll start off from the beginning. Here we go. So, okay, so what I want to share today is this fella, overwhelm, which affects every single one of us at some point. It's kind of like, you know, standing at the bottom of a staircase, which is 100 steps long, and thinking, how in the name of God am I going to get to the top? So we're in that moment trying to figure out the whole 100 steps in one go. But that could be something in life. And we just get completely stuck, frozen, right? So what I'm actually going to do as an example of that, okay, I'm going to take you through little bits here where you can literally see where you are energetically, feeling-wise for a moment. What I'd ask everybody to do, I'm just going to turn the share off for a second. I literally want you, where you are, if possible, is to close your eyes. And I want you just to, for a moment, without thinking too much, literally just straight away, because otherwise you go up into thinking. When you notice the result within the first second or two, that's more, let's say, the intuition, the heart, as it were, which is the fellow we want to really be paying attention to. So I'd like you just for a moment, in your own head, quietly, maybe to give yourself a mark out of 10 about how you're feeling right now. In other words, 1 being, oh my God, awful, end of the world, stressed to bits. 10, fantastic, lovely, bliss, couldn't be better. Just take a moment, take a breath in, and just quickly give yourself a score out of 10. That's all. No judgment, just how you're feeling right now. So you all have a number in your head. Now I want you to listen to a few words that I'm going to give to you. Swamped, submerged, engulfed, buried, deluged, flooded, inundated, clogged, saturated, glut, overload, beset, burden. Okay, now just all you have to do now for a second is pay attention. Did your score go down? That's all you need to mark. And we can chat about this at the end. Did your score go down? Okay. So let's turn off my screen for a moment. Let's see what I have up next then. Okay. So here's where we can actually help ourselves. I'd like you again just to close your eyes. We're just going to take a moment here. I'm going to take you through a very short, maybe 1 to 2 minute meditation. And then we're going to check in with the exercise again. I'm going to take your score again. Okay? And then we'll explain exactly what that's all about and how easy and effortless that can take place from within ourselves. So just very quickly, a word about meditation. The benefits of meditation. Meditation can reduce pain and enhances the body's immune system. It can also help us with disease. Think about that. Hyphenate the word dis-ease, a body that's not at ease with itself. Meditation can help reduce feelings of depression, anxiety, anger, and confusion. Meditation helps increase blood flow and slows the heart rate. It can help reverse heart disease. Meditation can and does provide a sense of calm, peace, and balance. It increases energy, and possibly most important, it reduces the stress, and it helps to control thoughts. So just to think for a moment, like, I am not my thoughts. I have thoughts. Thoughts pass through me. Am I grabbing onto them, holding onto them, and having an emotional reaction to them? So if you bear in mind what your score was when we started, and did it drop down to a lower score? Okay, what I'd like you to do now is give yourself permission to pause just for a moment, close your eyes, get nice and relaxed, whether you're sitting or lying. Just take a nice deep breath in, slow deep breath in all the way in, maybe for a count of 8. And then pause at the top of the breath. And then breathe all the way out, maybe for a count of 8. And again, nice deep breath in. Imagine you're breathing in clear white light, breathing it into your heart. And I want you to imagine, what does love feel like? Think of someone you love, living or past, or someone who loves you, parent, grandparent, child, grandchild, friend, family, your pet. Think what unconditional love feels like, and just allow that to sit in your heart for a moment. And the kindness that's extended between loved ones, and what that feels like. And the gratitude that we feel that these people are in our lives, and that we're in their lives. And I'm going to give you a few words. And just pay attention to how you feel. Encouraged, impress, inspire, support, lead, begin, continue, momentum, climb, heal, expand, grow. And very quickly, how are you feeling right now, marks out of 10? Just take a snapshot in your mind of where you are. And in your own time, nice deep breath, and you can open your eyes and come back into the room. And I'll just stop sharing the screen for a moment. Now, did anybody, even hands up so I can see it, did anybody notice the difference in the score, in the feeling, even in that little exercise? An increase, yeah? That it went up. So if you think about it, where did the increase in how we're feeling right now come from? We came from within. We get that? So it's all about what we're paying attention to, if that makes sense. So a little definition, if you like, scientific or dictionary definition of overwhelm. Overwhelm is defined in the Oxford English Dictionary as to bury or drown beneath a huge mass of something. For example, floodwaters overwhelmed hundreds of houses. This is overwhelm. Or to have a strong emotional effect and impact on oneself. For example, I was overwhelmed by guilt or sadness, okay? So we're talking strong, very great in amount. Any feeling or emotion that's felt strongly or in a great amount can be overwhelming. Guilt can be overwhelming. Anger can be overwhelming. And here's the thing, even happiness can be overwhelming if it's such a joyful state and we haven't been used to it for a while, for example. So the idea there is anything that's not familiar has the potential to overwhelm. So what we do is we mind ourselves through it. So that's a little bit about, and also gave you a very real, if you like, practical example of what overwhelm can feel like just for a moment when our number just dipped. And also what's possible when our number came up through a very short meditation, through quieting our mind. We're not holding on to thoughts, which then lead to an emotional reaction. They're not there. When they're not there, we're not holding on to them. Our mind is clear and quiet, and we're in a position to actually get on, minding ourselves, helping ourselves, and coming up with solutions. And we're going to look through, I'm watching my time here, 10 minutes in, and we're going to come up with a few kind of solutions, if you like, as well today, okay? So something I learned in my own journey, at the beginning of my journey, and coming out of rock bottom, which did involve hospitalization when I was a younger man. My wound, if you like, or the things that may have happened, or the things that may have impacted on me, is not my fault. But my healing is entirely my responsibility. My well-being, how I am right now in my mind and my heart, is entirely my responsibility. Okay? So where else can we go with this? Let's see what is on the the first thing I'd actually say about that is to know, first of all, it's really important if we feel overwhelmed to give ourselves a break, is to understand that our reaction and how we're feeling right now is completely normal and is something that every human being on the face of the earth goes through at some point in their day, in the week. Everybody gets overwhelmed at some point, okay? So we'll look through a few different solutions as we go on. I'm just going to share my screen here for a second again. We'll continue. Something I learned as well and had a tremendous life-changing effect for me, and the work, I call it work, but I mean, I work at my passion, my joy, and it's such an honor and a bliss to do so. And what I discovered maybe about 7 years ago when I started my journey was this wonderful saying here. If you change the way you look at things, or perhaps when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So effectively, we need to be the change that we're looking for in a situation. And that might even be just to mind ourselves in a moment, to notice I'm overwhelmed right now, to notice that it's happening, rather than being at the mercy of the thoughts and the feelings that are happening. And just a little bit about those. I'll come back over here. There we go. This chart here, and again, I can send this out to anybody who would like a copy of it. If you think about this here as a kind of a map, a quick check-in score with how we're feeling right now. And all you need to know for the purpose of our exchange and meeting up with each other today is the score over here on the left. If you think of that as a speed, or this is how you're feeling right now, okay? And if you were to, let's say, compare it to a speed that you're running at right now, your feeling, your vibration as it were, you see how low the likes of shame and guilt and fear are, okay? And these are crippling, these hold us way down. They block us, they block any good coming in, they block our ability to come up with solutions. The moment we might get up to somewhere like courage, neutrality, that could literally be knowing, okay, I've kind of got lost in my head, or my feeling, or my adrenaline is up to 90, my heart rate's up to 90. The thing as well is when you get overwhelmed, we can be afraid of something. And then we are pumping adrenaline through our body because our subconscious mind thinks we're in danger and it's trying to protect us. So now we could be a nervous wreck because our subconscious mind released a lot of adrenaline thinking there's danger when there isn't. We were just thinking about something. Our subconscious mind can't tell the difference between what's real and imaginary. So it's releasing all these very high level chemicals that we don't need right now. And that's something else that's going on as well when we're overwhelmed. We're running adrenaline and cortisone and high cortisol and stuff like this, okay? Heart rate is up, breathing is very shallow, and thinking is blocked. We're just paying attention to the problem and like all of the thing all in one go, right? So the first thing to do again would be to take a deep breath. That's the very first thing to do when you notice there's overwhelm going on. Take a deep breath, like we did a few moments ago. Stop, give yourself permission to stop and drop everything for a minute, sit down. Again, take a nice deep breath. Give yourself one single mindful minute out of your 24 hours. The first thing to do with overwhelm is to remember to put on your oxygen mask first. You've got to serve you first, okay? What you can do then is, a little bit of courage will be something as simple as taking a pen and a page and write down everything that you need to do. Whatever it is that's overwhelming you, write down what it is, okay? And I'm going to take you through a little three-step guide. Here it is. 3 things to do in a situation when you find that something has gotten on top of you, okay? First thing to do is gather all the information, all right? Relating to the topic. It could be even you're overwhelmed by the fact that you've been called for an interview for a new job. But when you think about it, that's something you've been working hard to create in your life. You visualized it, you went after it, you worked hard for it, and now it's turned up. The reason that could be overwhelming is because that's a whole different talk, and that's something I work with a lot of clients and students on. That's around self-esteem and how much do I believe I'm worthy of the job, right? But the first thing to do there would be gather all the information. In any situation that's overwhelming, gather up all the information first. Write it down, collect it, get it all gathered up around you. Second thing is, analyze the information you just gathered, okay? And when you've done that, your intuition will kick in. There'll be enough clear space in your mind to act. solutions will effectively bubble up to the mind by themselves. That makes sense? When we're so worried about something, we can't see the wood for the trees. We can't see the forest for all the trees in the way, right? So we take a step back, gather all the information, analyze all the information, and what's happening then is we're also busy. We've given that subconscious mind something to do rather than just think. If you think of a monkey jumping from branch to branch to branch to branch to branch to branch, and then going back over what he did, and it's all chaos and erratic. This is what's going on in our head. The minute you give that monkey a banana, that's it. He locks in like a laser beam. He's tracking it. He's peeling it. He's eating it. Give it something to do. So when you give the mind the task, as it were, to gather the information, analyze the information, it's a little bit like a hobby. The reason we do hobbies is we're so focused on what we're doing right now, it quiets the mind. We've given the mind something to do. And then the mind is clear. Even just for a few moments, it's clear. And then we will know, this is what I need to do. And then even in the act stage, you break it down into bite-sized pieces. And I'm going to give a few little tips on that as well. I'll come back to that one in a moment. So we're 20 minutes in. We're just watching the time because, and we can see, I suppose, once we get to about half an hour. I mean, if whatever you guys want to do, we can do. We can kind of keep sharing stuff with you, or we can throw it open to questions. Questions is a very powerful way as well of getting to the heart of what's going on for people. All right. Actually, I will share this now. If you have a pen and a page, this is something that I do every single morning, and I do a version of it at night as well. And this has been life-changing. And the way you change something is one tiny pebble at a time. There is no mountain of change. There is no mountain of turning something around. That's overwhelm again. It's pebbles, tiny little pebbles, okay? There's an ancient saying, he who moved mountains began by clearing away the small stones. And just think about it that way. It's always small stones. Whatever it is you're looking to achieve or expand or grow, whether it be ask someone out on a date, go for an interview, decide to change your job, decide to change your hairstyle, get fit, anything. There's a process. You break it down into bite-sized pieces, okay? I think it's really important as well, and this will come up in the morning routine I do here, anything that you want to do that we might inadvertently go into overwhelm. Overwhelm is a habit. It's learned. So we need to be very kind to ourselves. It's just a way that we learned to think and act from kids because of stuff that we were experiencing or exposed to. But the great thing about what's learned is, and believe me, I can testify to this, what's learned can be unlearned and relearned, okay? So whatever it is we want to do or be or have, if we start at the very end and think about, why would I like to have this? This thing I'm thinking about, why is it important? In other words, if I could imagine this already done, what would the positive impact of this be on my life? And even more importantly, and this will take you right out of your own thinking, this is a game changer. What would the positive impact of this be on somebody else's life? Like, for example, I could very easily get up in my own head and be a nervous wreck and be shaking and whatnot, coming in and sharing with you wonderful people today. I can guarantee you 2 or 3 years ago, I would have been, not a chance I would have been here earlier in my journey. But what makes me really excited and feeling a lot of love and compassion and gratitude is, what could I share from what I learn, what I experience, that may have a positive impact for me, but more importantly, have a positive impact for you? Which means I'm effectively taking myself out of the loop. I'm not thinking about me. I'm not up in my head, oh my God, what if I say that thing and they'll think I'm stupid, or I shouldn't have said that thing, or I shouldn't have worn that shirt, or my beard wasn't right, or my glasses were crooked. No one's judging any of that. Like, did you ever go along to pay money when we're allowed out to things? Did you ever go along to a show and someone comes on stage and you're thinking, I paid a lot of money to be here today. I really hope they suck. I really hope it's rubbish. No, of course not. So you're rooting for the person who would be speaking or presenting or whatever. So whenever you're doing something in your life, the people that you would have an impact on, they are rooting for you, always. It's good to remember that. We get caught up in our own head. When we think about the positive impact it's going to have on others, it takes us out of our head completely. So I'm going to share a routine that I started doing a couple of years ago, and it's completely changed the way I think, act, feel. And then again, pebbles create mountains. That would change my mental well-being, my emotional well-being, my spiritual practice, my physical shape. I would feel, and I would say very humbly, I feel like I look and act and think 10 years younger than I did 10 years ago. And that's a step-by-step thing. And part of it will be this morning routine. And this is so simple, it'll take you 2 minutes, and this stuff could change your life. If you would give this 2 minutes every morning, you could also do a version of it as a reflection at the end of your day. So what you're doing is you're getting out in front of your thinking. Yeah? You're not letting your thinking run you. You're getting out ahead of it. You're getting in front of it, and you're running the show because you are the show. Your thoughts is a part of you. It's not the operating system. It's just a program. So first question is around gratitude. And I ask myself first thing in the morning, and again, just very quickly with a pen and my book, and I'll show you, I even have it here. I'll put that on my screen. That's my morning routine. 3 things I'm grateful for. Okay? And maybe come up with different ones every day. 3 things I'm truly grateful for. When you're doing that, your mind and your heart are completely aligned, let's say, and you're totally present. You're not overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means my mind is now gone into the future, trying to figure out every single thing out at once. Can't be done. How we create the future, we have our mind in the now. It's the only place you can create the future from is when your mind is here now. When we jump into the future in our mind, trying to fix it, chaos. So gratitude is a great way of getting present. And it also opens us up, you could say, at a universal, energetic, spiritual level. Gratitude opens us up to receiving more stuff to be grateful for. For example, at one point in my life, I would see my kids for maybe 5 or 6 hours every fortnight or every month. But I learned and trained myself, if you like, from the inside to be so grateful for that time while it's happening, and be so grateful for that time when they were gone, and be in so much thanks that you're attracting more, such that they can now be in my home and spend 6 weeks with me. So how can you, so again, pebbles make mountains. You can go from being grateful for 6 hours every month, and the learning there, the challenge there is not to pay attention to the time when they're away and pay attention to how sad I feel or whatever, because you could be attracting more of that. It's be grateful for what I have, right? Be thankful for what I have, I'll get more. Gratitude is like an attractor, it's a magnet, okay? So you can go from 6 hours to 6 weeks. It's just one example. It absolutely works if you take 2 minutes every morning. So think of gratitude as a magnet, a way of being present, and a way of opening yourself up to receiving more stuff to be grateful for. That make sense? So 3 things I'm grateful for. The second one, I would say at least 1, and maybe challenge yourself to look for 3 qualities I value in myself. Something I love about me. And it's amazing the amount of times I share that with clients and students, they go, oh, that's a tough one. Interesting. We could rattle off no problem things we love about somebody else. When we're asked to think by ourselves, in our own head quietly, something I love about me. If there's any resistance to that, what I'd like you to notice is that there was resistance. Notice that there was a kind of oh, that's a tough one. Is it really? When you just sit down with yourself and think about something that you love about you, you know? That could be, I'll give you some of my examples. That could be, well, I'm growing my courage, growing my faith in the future that's coming. I'm far more grounded. So for me, you know, not to pigeonhole or stereotype people, but I would have had colossal issues with ADHD, focus, attention span, coordination. Huge problem for me, you know, and brought about huge life results for me. So that's a quality that I could grow myself into, that more calm, quiet, grounded place and get more done and work smarter, not harder. So you think of 3 things that you value, that you love about yourself. And the major, let's say, positive impact that will have for you is it will dissolve what we call imposter syndrome. You know, the way you might be thinking, like going for an interview and think, sure, I never get the job. Sure, who would give it to me? Or this belief system of, you know, if you want to do something, there might be a belief running in your head, who the fuck does you want to think she is? Or who the fuck do I think I am to go for that, right? And we all have that. Everybody runs a tightrope between waiting to be found and waiting to be found out. We all do from time to time. So when we think of the qualities that we love about ourselves, it completely dissolves this "I'm not worthy, I can't cope" nonsense. But if we believe it, it's very real for us. I can't cope. I'm not able. We are. And how to get back to that is to think of 3 qualities that we love about ourselves. Okay? Third one, feeling. We're getting out ahead of our feeling. If you think about the map I just showed you, that kind of chart about how I'm feeling right now and how high or low or down the chart I am, think about it this way. The most important conversation you'll ever have is the conversation you are ever engaged in with yourself. Conversation you're having with yourself throughout your life. And the thoughts that you're paying attention to in your head, there's a feeling as a result of the thinking, okay? Think of it this way. It's the feeling that the universe can hear and pick up on and give you results. We talk about karma. Karma is basically action, reaction, action, consequence, stimulus, event, consequence. How I'm feeling right now is going to bring about a result. But we can work with how I'm feeling right now. So the question there will be, when we get out in front of it, how do I want to feel today? That's question 3. How do I want to feel today? Right? That's also giving the part of our brain called the reticular activation system, the RAS. It's getting it to work. That part of our brain which will focus like a laser, if we let it focus on I can't cope, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, it's going to look for ways to actualize that. You get me? So we get out in front of it, we say, how do I want to feel today? First thing in the morning. So I'll give you some of my examples. I want to feel focused, determined, joyful, patient, loving, still, whole. I want to feel those things. And the minute we tell our subconscious what we want, the minute we plant it, remember your subconscious is not a difficult master. It is an infinite servant. It's an infinite servant. It will go wherever you ask it to go. The thing is, are we running our subconscious? Are we conscious? Are we aware? Are we awake? And are we kind of aligned with our own subconscious? Or are we kind of being swept along by events happening outside of ourselves, if you like? Right? Something happens and we have a reaction to it. That means we're like a balloon, but now we're at the mercy of the wind. Our mood could go this way or that way. So how to bring that back and have total control over it and be running the show first thing in the morning, and then we're building the habit. If you were to do this 2, 3, 4 mornings in a row, it begins to become second nature, and you're not even having to consciously practice it. It just becomes a way of being. You wake up in this place. How do I want to feel today? I want to feel focused, determined, loving, oneness with everything, excited. I want to feel curious. You know, that interview that I'm going for, I want to be like a little detective. What can I do to give myself the best possible opportunity? You know, you get in front of it. So that's the third one. And finally, intention. Set a key intention for today. And the way I always write this is I love, value, and these are affirmations. Again, there's a whole different class and program in there. Affirmations is basically I am putting into the universe that which I hold to be true, and the universe will give it back to you. And that could be I am tired, I am sick, I am sad, I am confused, I am stupid, I am useless, I am wonderful, I am courageous, I am patient, I am learning, I am beginning, you know, I am giving myself permission to learn. Affirmations. So the key intention for today, I would write it as I love, value, and appreciate myself. So therefore today I am, or today I am going to, and give you an example of what I would do there. The day that I wrote this was back when I was full-time barbering, switching to part-time barbering, and then I was growing my coaching and speaking business, and I had exams to do, but I was also working in a barber shop that morning, and then I was coming back and I was coaching clients that evening. So I had barber job, clients, and essays to write up. It could be very easy to get overwhelmed, even though all the good stuff is beginning to appear in my life. So I've written down, I love, value, and appreciate myself. So therefore today I am going to study for my assignments, trust I'll get there, and be punctual. Stop writing at 8:40 a.m. So that was first thing in the morning. That's also tying into that kind of ADHD-ness. Set my intention. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm excited about. I'll do that. And then you've done that. And even if you do that first thing in the morning or tackle your intention early on in the day, you win the day. I'll give you a quick tip, actually. If you want to win the day, you start off by winning the first minute. If you want to win the first minute, the very, very first thing you do in the day, whatever hour of day you get up, make your bed. Let that be the very first thing you do when you get up. Immediately, your subconscious feels like, I'm a winner. I achieve. It does not matter to your subconscious mind whether you built the Eiffel Tower or you made your bed. The feeling is the same. So, and it wants to serve you. Remember, the universe wants you to have your stuff. The universe wants you to grow. It's our head, it's our learned kind of ego thinking that gets a bit scared about growth. But it's part of human nature. And it is also okay for steps going forward to be a little bit scary. They're only scary because we've never done them before. Do you see? So where else can I take you? You see we're coming up to. This is just an example. This sheet here, 50 ways to take a break. We can all think of ways to take a break. And I just literally rattle off some of them. Pet your pet. Go to a park. Turn off all your electrics. Turn off your phone. Color in with crayons. Listen to music. Make music. Write a poem. What else do I have here? Put on some music and dance. Have a coffee break. Buy yourself some flowers. There are so many ways to take a break. These are all antidotes to overwhelm. Okay? What else do I have for you? Then we can always go to some questions, or we can see what you feel like doing for the last few minutes. Okay, so some solutions. Let's say to sum up, if you like. What can we do when overwhelm can and does visit? Because it's not like a magic wand. I'm going to, wave a magic wand and overwhelm will never visit us again. It does and it will. So we're being realistic, we're being practical. So what can we do when overwhelm visits? Stop. That's the first thing to do. Stop. Notice. I noticed the weather has changed on the inside. Yeah. If you remember that chart I showed you between where our mood is, I noticed my mood has dropped. I noticed my score out of 10 has plummeted. I see that that's happened. Okay. So pause would be taking a minute. Sit down, perhaps. You can take 1 minute. If you notice that you're completely overwhelmed and completely frozen, it is really important to take 1 single minute out of the 24 hours just for you. Breathe in for a count of 8. Breathe out for a count of 8. When you notice the pause between your breath, you're literally noticing the space between everything, the space between your thoughts. That's one of the things we can do to quiet the mind. When we quiet the mind, that's where all the magic is. As somebody once said, Debussy once said, it's the space in between the notes that creates the music. Yeah, otherwise it's just noise. It's just a space. So it's giving ourselves a space when overwhelm hits. Letting go of some things. It's good to do a personal inventory, your spiritual inventory. Perhaps decluttering our room, perhaps decluttering our life. Are there people in our life that aren't serving us? Are we taking on too much? Have we agreed to do far too much stuff? Commit to less, to follow on from let go of some things. And again, especially when we're talking around our own physical energy and the limitations of our own physical energy, this is really important too. Is to put ourselves first, is to put on our own oxygen mask first at all times, because then we can serve everybody. When we're making sure that our glass, if you will, that our glass is full and we're continually pouring into our glass such that our glass is overflowing as best as possible with our relationship with ourselves, right? And our own well-being and minding ourselves, we can then serve everybody. If we're just giving away to everything and everyone from our glass, we're left with a few drops in the bottom. Actually, looking at it so much, I'm going to drink some of this. And if we're trying to serve everyone, help everyone, do our work off a few drops left in the glass, This is chaos, and we're running on empty half the time. So committing to less is a very loving, self-loving act. Saying yes to things that might serve us, even if it might seem a little bit scary. Remember, it's only scary because it's new. That could be maybe the first time I ever did a Zoom call. I'm sure it was scary. The first time I ever got up in front of an audience and did a talk, it was terrifying. I was literally gripping the lectern. It was like white knuckle the first time. Probably because I'm so conscious of what will they think of me saying. Now my mindset is, what is the information that I want to share, and what's the impact I'd like it to have, and what would I like these people to walk away with? So you're removing yourself from the room. So Richard Branson says, if somebody gives you an opportunity and you don't know how, say yes straight away. Then you'll learn on the way. Your subconscious will help you focus. So sometimes saying yes is a solution to overwhelm. Giving it a go, starting, and giving yourself permission to start as a complete beginner. Saying no is also massively important. Remember, saying no is a full sentence sometimes. Learning when to say no. Are we saying yes just to please somebody, just to be a people pleaser? Are we saying yes because of the reaction they might have? They might say something nice about us. Well, if we're saying something nice about us, we have our own back, and we're protecting our own boundaries. I heard you talk about Sarah's talk on boundaries. Very important. When you're setting healthy boundaries for yourself, you will know to say no. If you know that the thing doesn't serve you, say no in your own best interest. Okay? And again, knowing our priorities, or listing our priorities. What's in my interest and what's in the interest of the people I'm looking to serve. Keep it simple. Break it down. Okay? Bite size. Limit yourself. Know your limitations, especially when we talk about, physical well-being, energetic well-being, and maybe what is our energy capacity, our physical capacity, is to know ourselves, keep it simple, limit ourselves. This is huge. Setting healthy boundaries as well, okay? Rather than being people-pleasing or doing something just so people will say nice things about ourselves. When we have a very healthy, loving relationship with ourselves, we'll set a very high boundary. Okay, we will know if somebody is not serving us. We'll know if somebody is saying things just to kind of, knock how we feel, and we'll be okay with it, because then we remember that's their drama, that's their Disneyland, not mine. If anybody would ever say something negative about you, that's their story that they're running in their head. It says nothing about you, and it says everything about them. So we can set healthy boundaries. And finally, for solutions, develop and continue to work on your own self-esteem, your own relationship with you. That's the purpose of life right there, is to continue to cultivate a loving, kind, strong relationship with ourselves. And also to have faith and have trust that everything gets done, right? I'll leave you on the solutions with this one. If you think about every difficult scenario you ever faced in your life that you thought you were not going to get through, how many of them have you survived? All of them.
All of them.
So it pays to remember that as well. Every time you get overwhelmed, you think, I'm not going to get through this. Yes, you will. This did not come to stay. It came to pass. And it will pass. And the thing that does grow through the thing that you're finding difficult is you, because you will find the way when you give yourself the time and you use those tools that I've shared today. Again, that's just a little reminder as we finish up. So what you're looking for, if you like, the name of the game is, as often as consistently as possible, is to have your feeling, your mood up around here. Peace, joy, love, okay? And if you look at, when you're in a moment of peace of mind, you're literally 30 times the person that you are if you're feeling shame or guilt. There's literally 30 times the energy, right? Up here, this enlightenment, that's up in the level, that's like Jesus, Buddha level. But you're in that place when you're not thinking, when you're listening to the sound of a child laughing and you're laughing along with them, when something has touched your heart, just a moment of pure joy, no thinking taking place at all. We are up here. So that's the name of the game, is to get ourselves up there as often as possible, if you like.